Danny, driver. Na 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 na. Hey gang, how's it going? Kevin Goatee here, gutting the sacred cow. You know, before every one of our episodes, I try and think of a good reason why you're listening to this episode and try and tease it a little bit. This episode, no hyperbole, no marketing promotion nonsense. This has something that is completely unfounded happen during the episode. Something that has never happened before has happened in this episode for the first time, and I hope the last, but it sure is funny as hell. Shelly Martinez joins us, and she picks one hell of a cow to try and gut, Dumb and Dumber. That's right, 1994, Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber, pretty much made him the mega superstar that he is. You can argue Ace Ventura, you can argue Dumb and Dumber, I don't care. Before we get to it, guttingthesacredcow.com for everyday articles, blogs, merch, hats, bags, mugs, you know the drill. And of course, guttingthesacredcow at gmail.com to advertise with us, just to say hi, whatever you want to do. Just stop popping and say hello. Now, here we go. Here is that crazy moment I promised you with Shelly Martinez doing Dumb and Dumber.
Gather round, here's what I know. It's just that this cow has got to go. I know some people kinda like it, yeah, it's trending right now. Yeah, that doesn't matter, cause we're gutting the sacred cow.
Are you going to bark all day, little doggy, or are you going to bite? Kevin Israel, name that film.
It sounds familiar, but I can't remember.
Our guest is Shelly Martinez. Shelly, good afternoon / evening. How are you?
I'm doing fine and dandy like sour candy. How about yourself?
Well, something tells me that is part of your standard greeting when people talk to you.
No, I genuinely mean that because that's what Ned Flanders says. And it's the day when you can feel like Ned Flanders, and that's what I strive to do.
Well, hi, diddly ho. Can you tell us where that quote came from, Shelly?
No.
The film is a 1993 classic called, or is it 92? Reservoir Dogs. That's a scene where Michael Madsen.
Yeah, you know what? Of the Tarantino movies, of the Tarantino movies, that's the one I've seen the least.
Really? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I think I've actually only seen it twice all the way through.
For shame.
I know, and I've seen Pulp Fiction like 40 times.
That's it. I'm probably clocking about close to 100. Kevin Goatee, Kevin Israel, back. How is it going? We hope you're enjoying fantastic films like The Wizard of Oz we had on, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Dark Knight. Yeah, someone did The Dark Knight. The balls on that motherfucker. But today, I think someone named Shelly Martinez has shown equal balls / ovaries, whichever way you're leaning today. She has chosen an absolute beloved classic comedy, Kevin. And this one, although not as angering most people I thought it would, still pissed a lot of folks off. She has chosen the absolute juggernaut, 1994, Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber, a 1994 budget of $17 million, bringing in a box office haul of $247.3 million. Now, let's turn that into 2021 dollars. $30.3 million budget. $441.2 million. Wowie zowie. And Oakley dokley. I don't know. I know I've seen every episode of The Simpsons. I just can't remember any more Ned Flanders's.
It's fine. It's fine.
Noted.
Those are monster numbers for any movie, but for a comedy, that's bananas.
Bonkers. IMDb, as we know, is a scale 1 through 10 with decimal points. Shelly, what do you think Dumb and Dumber scored on that old IMDb?
I think the numbers are high because it is a movie that everyone loves. I don't know. I'd say it scored maybe an 8.
8. Kevin Israel?
7.4.
Close. 7.3. Oh, someone's got both showcases. Kevin Israel, critics, Rotten Tomatoes, you know the drill, 1 through 100.
77.
Shelly?
80.
68.
I was gonna go lower, but I was pussed out.
Shelly, audience score for Dumb and Dumber. What do you think it scored? Rotten Tomatoes.
76.
Kevin Israel.
I'm gonna go high on this one. I'm gonna go 89.
84.
Ah,
Almost the difference. I'm surprised, Shelly, you don't like this film. You have a lot of weed paraphernalia in your office / area, and I would think stoners would love this film.
That's the thing. People tend to clump in a lot of different things as like all stoners love that kind of stuff, and that's just not the case.
Fair. We had a gal, Sarah J., who's a stoner, who hates Pineapple Express, and I say her taste in films is just perfect.
you can't lump all stoners together. They are a complex group of people.
Yeah.
You know what it is sometimes a film, I feel as a stoner, you'll watch it and then you'll really love it, and then you kind of get older, and so like you experience life, maybe you look at things a little differently, and then you might end up hating a film or loving a film.
Shelly, welcome to this fucking podcast. What else can I say?
It's almost like stoners are like the rest of us.
Well, Kevin Israel, I know what's going to happen here. So I'm going to allow you to go first with quotes because, well,
and it's funny. I didn't write down a lot of quotes because I was like, Kevin's just going to string through them all.
That's why I'm letting you go first.
So I tried to picked out a couple that like jumped out at me that weren't the common fare.
Sure.
They've got the Monkees. They were a big influence on the Beatles. And that John Denver was full of shit.
Love that
and
one.
Then the last one, which is one my friends and I actually used to say, was, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh, that one has been beaten to a bloody goddamn pulp.
Yep.
Next, I've got a few. I got worms. Say that to a girl at a bar and see what she would say. If she laughed, she was in on it. If she wasn't, she's a stone cold bitch. A place called Aspen. I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes. We're not even out of Connecticut yet, and you're already starting to annoy me. And of course, the obvious, kick his ass, sea bass. Samsonite, I was way off. And probably this is my favorite off the beaten path. I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy. Don't you go dying on me. And my brother, Brian, who listens to the podcast. Hi. What's the soup du jour? That's the soup of the day. That sounds good. I'll have that. How about you, Shelly? What do you have? Any quotes you want to throw at us that jumped out?
I have a quote that not many will know. So if you know them, you get cool guy points.
Right on.
Do you guys know where this one's from? Okay.
Go ahead.
The only way to win, Theodore, is to cheat. Remember that.
Usually we would do quotes from the film that we watched for this episode, but
Oh my gosh.
No, that's cool. But I tell you what, I'll play a reindeer game. The way to cheat, Theodore. I want to say Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure because he used Theodore. I've never heard anyone say Theodore in a long time. That was his asshole dad.
I was going to say Alvin and the Chipmunks, but.
Well, I love that I just botched this whole game, but you're both wrong.
Okay, fine.
It's, One Crazy Summer, which is my favorite movie in the entire universe.
I haven't seen that.
If I remember that, I think I hated it, but I don't remember if I did or not.
That's a lot of people do hate that film. But the quotes from this film, I don't really remember. That's probably why I botched this segment for myself.
We're just asking if something stuck out at you. You didn't have to write that down.
I like customizing it though. That was nice.
It was.
I was a part. I was a part.
You were present in the moment. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
110 plus episodes, Kevin Israel and our guest decided to throw a quote back to us, not of the same film. Well, live and learn. 5 fun facts. No studio wanted to call this Dumb and Dumb. It kept getting rejected because of the title. So working titles included Go West and I love this one. A power tool is not a toy.
What?
No.
A power tool is not a toy sounds like one of the Troy McClure videos from The Simpsons. Hey, I'm Troy McClure. You remember me from such instructional videos as a power tool is not a toy. Like that's, see, I knew I'd get Shelly on that one.
Go West sounds like it would have been like a Western.
Right.
Like people would have gone into that expecting some like epic travel movie.
Or unfortunately, John Candy's last film, Wagons East. So the polar
Wagons East,
opposite,
yeah,
which I never saw, which I heard is terrible. Number 2, this one is going to get your all the hair standing right up on your taints. New Line Cinema rejected this film. The president did. He said he would greenlight this project if they would take 2 leads from the list of 25 comedic actors. All 25 turned them down for this role, which included, I tell you what, I'll let you each take a stab, and I'll give you some hints. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 names on here. 2 of them huge in the 80s and 90s. 1 more the 90s. 1 of the 80s, and 1 is just ubiquitous through time. So big guys, and I'll say 1, 2 for sure. 2 comedic actors in this bunch. The other 3, I doubt you would even associate with comedic.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers killed
Mike Myers.
in Haddonfield, Illinois, on Halloween night. That is not Mike Myers. Shelly, any guesses?
Man, I just really can't picture who they would like. Who would be on that list?
Okay.
Adam Sandler?
No SNL people.
No one.
Actually, one, but he's not really. No, actually, he's not SNL. I'm just gonna tell you. The first one's gonna just send shivers right up your butthole. Nick Cage.
He's a comedic actor?
Did you not see? I just rewatched Kiss of Death. That is unintentionally, hilariously awful. Nicolas Cage, Martin Short, and this one I thought you may be able to get, Steve Martin.
I thought about saying Steve Martin, but
Yeah.
I just couldn't picture it. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't.
The next one, Rob Lowe,
What?
right? And Gary Oldman. Of all people, Gary Oldman, fucking Dracula.
I'm shocked Gary Oldman turned this down.
Winston Churchill, Dracula, and Lee Harvey Oswald all said no to this. The reason Rob Lowe said no, he demanded his trailer be filled with 15-year-old girls, but the studio drew the line there and said no, thank you.
They got to be 17, Rob. Come on.
I got Shelly with that one. Thank you.
People always sweep that under the rug. That's why it happened.
It sure did.
We forget nothing.
Jim Carrey was offered $350,000 to appear in this film originally, but then negotiated to $7 million, which is a pubic hair below the total budget of the film, because of obviously the success of Ace Ventura. How bonkers is that? Now, if you thought that was crazy, the studio did not want Jeff Daniels. They wanted Harlan Williams, the guy who played the Pennsylvania state trooper who takes the drink of beer. Piss, actually. But the Fairleys pushed for Jeff Daniels, and the studio said, okay, fine. What we're going to do is we're going to lowball him. Take a guess how much Jeff Daniels said yes to doing this film for.
I have no idea.
I mean, it's obviously going to be really low.
Yeah.
125.
Shelly.
Maybe he did it for a hundy.
Or maybe he did it for $50,000.
That's insanity.
Isn't it?
Jeff
fucking
Daniels.
Fucking first-year law students, Kevin Israel, made more in the 90s than Jeff Daniels did for this. Unless he got points in the back end, which I cannot confirm. 50 grand. But at least his quote went up like probably 50 times. I don't know.
Jesus.
And here's one for you, Kevin. The hotel they stay at in Aspen is that same hotel that inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. Jim Carrey asked to stay in room 217, but checked out after 3 hours because of its ghostly powers, quote unquote.
I guess if I was staying in that hotel, I'd want to stay in that room too.
And then
I hate that movie.
Yeah, we're just gonna piss all over the walls and upper deck the toilets.
And then I'd ask for a big wheel to ride around the.
Yeah, you and me both, but we have a goddamn date on the calendar for that.
Yeah, we got to make that happen.
Now it's time for Ask a Gutter. Rex Crumb asks, do you think immigration should have used Jim Carrey's performance in Dumb and Dumber as evidence to deport him back to Canada?
Sure.
Not enthusiastic about that question, is she, Rex? Ty Tenenbaum says, it was funny when I was a child. I am no longer a child. Jim Carrey is a herpes-ridden Scientologist.
Wow, herpes ridden.
Look, I've seen that on the Twitter, and I think
The herpes?
I was very insensitive to the herpes community.
Sounds like Shelly has herpes from that statement.
To throw Jim Carrey in the mix, because those people have enough to deal with, and then you want to throw Jim Carrey in there.
I remand my statement. I think Shelly got herpes from Jim Carrey. This is what this sounds like.
Yeah, there's a
lot to unpack, and I think I just did it.
Yeah.
There you go. Zing.
Oh my God.
Bango 2331. We know Bango and love him. Is Shelly's issue the style of comedy in general, or did the explosive diarrhea at someone else's house scene hit a little too close to home?
Well, I have been known to have a spell or two of diarrhea, so that part was, I could relate, been there, so it wasn't that. And I'll get into it later with my whole issues or whatever, but no,
Sure.
It wasn't the style of that at all. I mean, I love fart jokes all day long, so
Atta girl.
She loves diarrhea. Sounds like someone's got a niche of an OnlyFans page, huh?
Cha cha cha.
Wow.
A lot of glass tables in that house.
Someone throwing a Beavis and Butthead Cornholio reference out. I see what you're throwing at me. By the way, Clint Eastwood said that happened to me. He pulled Jeff Daniels aside and said, that happened to me. True story. At Lord Snurts, you're offered a free Mutts Cuts van, but you have to pick a different animal. What do you choose?
Oh.
I think it'd be fun to have a squirrel.
Squirrel does.
Kev, what would you have?
I was just going to ask you, how cute aren't we together? Our brains mind meld into one. I would go good. I want to say something comedic like Chihuahua, but that's too hacky. How about a Siberian Husky? Because those things are fucking piercing blue eyes and they're fluffy as shit. And they would just shit all over the road and annoy people behind me. Kind of like those assholes who don't. Sorry, Shelly, I know you're in California, up here in the North Jersey, and snow, something you're not familiar with. When people don't brush their snow off their car and you're behind them on the highway.
Worst.
Yeah, right?
Worst.
And you just get showered with snow while you're on the turnpike. Communist fucks.
It's actually illegal.
I know it is. I know. Kevin Israel, how about you? What animal would you choose?
I think I got to go with a Bernedoodle because I have two Bernedoodles.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I love my
loyalty runs deep. It's real hassle. Shrek Ogre asks, do you think this is the peak of Jim Carrey's what? He can't see. He spelled carries like he carries a suitcase. Jim Carrey's carrier. Oh my God. Or sort of in the middle. And which Jim Carrey, as in Carrey fucking Grant, what Jim Carrey movie is better than this one in your opinion? So 2 questions. Is this the peak of Jim Carrey or is he in the middle? And which Jim Carrey film is the best to you, Shelly?
I want to say like maybe that was his. What was this after the Ace Ventura you said?
Yes. It was. This is his third
I'm gonna
film.
go and say maybe that it was his peak because of just like how huge that movie was, especially when it first came out. Like it's still big. Like it's such a cult following. Not even that, it's mainstream following, So even back then it was huge. So I would agree that maybe that was his peak. Because after that, I don't feel, unless they were painting him in the media as being kind of like weird or whatever, he got ever like that huge push. My favorite Jim Carrey movie, it's not a funny one, but
Earth Girls Are Easy. I knew you were going to say that.
Oh, here's a funny one. It's a good one. Once Bitten. That's a good.
Oh, that was the other one I was going to say. Yeah.
That was his first one.
Good in that one.
Or Rubber Face. I was like waiting for that. Either of those answers. What is your favorite Jim Carrey film? Go ahead. Rub that flower for inspiration. I mean, the one in your head, not the one between your legs. I'm just okay.
Shelly, what is your favorite Jim Carrey movie?
I just said it was.
That is.
Oh, I thought you were being I didn't know you're being serious. Next question.
Serious.
I know. Okay, Brandon Oglesby, Newark Knight. I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan. Which would you say is better? Me, Myself, Irene, Liar, Liar, The Mask, or Ace Ventura?
Honestly, I haven't seen any of those movies all the way through.
Well, let's get INS on the phone and get you out of here because that's a hate crime against America. By the way, Me, Myself, and Irene, very underrated, hilarious. I put Liar, Liar at the worst of those bunch, Kevin Israel.
No, see, I like Liar Liar.
I do too, but if I have to pick, if I have to pick one that's the worst to best, I would go that way. But there you have it.
Fair.
Race to Canis at Almighty Ray. First a whiff on planes, trains, and automobiles, and now this. Somebody going to hit a brick wall after going after airplane next.
Ooh, that's like throwing gauntlet to somebody.
I responded, or Naked Gun, because that would also. Taco Shirt Krillin, she's clearly confused. Someone inform her that the town is back that way.
I have a lot to say, and I will share it when it is my time.
Well, Shelly, I sure as hell couldn't have queued up a better segue than that. So, Kevin Israel, let's have Shelly Martinez gut the sacred cow.
All right, so Dumb and Dumber. It's a film that everyone just loves. It's a film that everyone likes to say all the quotes from, even though I can't remember any of the quotes. But growing up, like when I would see it on TV all the time, I would always see it and I'd see Jim Carrey's face and I would just feel like I wanted to go into the TV and just choke him, physically put harm onto him because he got on my nerves so much. And it was so weird to me because I also grew up watching the show In Living Color, and I thought he was hilarious on there, like Fire Marshal Bill.
Yep.
You know, when he's the chick with the steroids, like, you know,
Vera
like,
DeMilo.
he's like awesome. He does like so many great characters, and it just took me. And Once Bitten, I genuinely liked Once Bitten, and I remember being a super little girl seeing it, and so it just really confused me that I just wanted to like choke him. And so people would always say, you love Dumb and Dumber, you love Dumb and Dumber. I didn't become a medicator until I was 25. So it's like a little later than a lot of people.
What is a medicator? Please explain.
I smoke pot. I am a pothead, but I use the term medicator. It's just what I use.
You know, a lot of people
rebranding.
I was gonna say a lot of people use that term, but they went to school for 10 years. They're called doctors.
But it is because that's a whole other subject, but
we'll shoot that whole other subject. Please continue. I just had to ask what the hell a medicator is.
Okay, because I'm a pothead. People would just be like, I can't believe you don't like Dumb and Dumber. You know, you have to. And when people would say that to me, it would be people who knew that I love like stupid, silly comedy. So I would try to watch it and I couldn't stomach it. It just got on my damn nerves to no end. So when we're going to do this show together and we're like talking about, I was like, you know what, let's do Dumb and Dumber. Because by the way, most of the movies that came up, it was like you already had done. And so I was like, okay, let's do Dumb and Dumber. And so of course I wanted to be more familiar with it before we came and recorded the show. And so I watched Dumb and Dumber, and let me tell you something. I dragged my feet on it. I was like, oh my God, it's going to get on my nerves the entire time. I'm just going to be like annoyed, but whatever. I got to know what I'm talking about. So I finally put it on, and you guys, I like Dumb and Dumber.
You fucker. You fucker. You just Kaiser Soze this whole fucking show.
Because here's the thing. So I'm doing cardio, right? So I'm doing cardio. I was like, okay, I'll watch Dumb and Dumber during cardio. I was like, I even went like this, just like this. I was like, oh God, here we go. Put it in. I'm just going. And then the first time I laughed really loud, I was like, oh no. Now, I will say this. Jim Carrey did get on my nerves, but I think I was kind of trying to put it together, and it's like I'm wondering if back in the day, like it was on TV a lot, like on and off. If I was just catching it at those same kind of like moments, because I thought Jim Carrey was going to be consistently like at that 10 that got on my nerves. But I saw throughout the movie it wasn't the case. I thought the story was really cute. I love Penny. I think she's so cute. And but Jim Carrey again, he was still a little bit too much for me. The scene like with the dog in his face, that was gross. I couldn't watch that. And then but I can't believe it. And then it made me think to myself, like, how do I not like this? Because there's films like this kind of vibe back in the day, and I always loved it. So because of this show, I became a person that I would absolutely watch Dumb and Dumber again.
She started a Dumb and Dumber fan club. She's doing Dumb and
Not
Dumber
that
cosplay.
far.
So you like this picture then? Like you're cool with this picture?
Not that far. And that's the thing is like, I just thought it was going to just get on my nerves to no end, and it was stupid, and I didn't understand what the big deal was and why everyone thought it was so freaking funny. Well, fellas, I found out.
Amazing. We had this happen once before, but it wasn't nearly as funny.
Because I hated it.
You mean our in case of emergency break glass episode?
The break glass episode.
That's exactly what we call it. Shelly, I gotta hear. So do us this. Take us to when you first saw it and why you hated it.
I don't know, because that's the thing. Like, I just always knew when I would go to watch it, there's Jim Carrey, and I'm just like, oh God. And I felt exhausted, and I just I couldn't get into the story. But it's so crazy because I had no idea there was like multiple stories in the whole thing. Like, like the kidney story, and then you got the Penny's dad, and like the whole thing. I was just like, this is the cocktail that I enjoy. I don't know why I've been so What year did it come out again?
94.
94. So when I was 14 years old, it took me all these years to where now I'm 41 years old, and that's how long I was a hater. Like, I talk so much crap about this movie, you have no idea. So that's why, like, if anyone I've talked crap about watches this, they're gonna be like, are you kidding me, Shelly, right now? You hate Jim Carrey.
Well, the good news is you've just spared yourself a lot of shit online from our listeners who love Dumb and Dumber. So if you got scared away by the hate you saw on Twitter and just decided I'm going to go with it, I loved it, and avoid this, well played.
I'm telling you, that's why I'm laughing so much, because like I said, I'm like, oh God. And I even watched a couple of things before it when I was doing cardio, because I was like, I don't want to watch this. It's going to get on my nerves, but I have to watch it.
Wait a minute. I have a question. Now, what kind of cardio are you doing where you focus on a fucking movie that,
how long are you doing cardio for?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I was doing cardio for an hour. And
what were you doing? What exercises were you doing for an hour where you could focus, where you could watch a movie?
On a treadmill.
So like at what, a 2.5 or?
No, I was going at 3.2.
I like the very precise.
3.2.
She's like, I know. What do you 2.5? No, come on.
You sure it was? You sure it wasn't? You sure it wasn't 4.2 for you stoners out there?
I wish I could go that fast, but no, it was 4.2. I like halfway in, because like I said, I was avoiding it. I was watching other things first, and then when I finished it, like I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna cook now, so I'm gonna just have it right here. And so I pushed pause, and I got everything. So when I was waiting for my eggs or whatever, I just watched some more. And then like when I was getting getting ready and I just kept watching it. And that's when I was like, this movie is really funny.
Wow.
But again, there was moments though, like I will say, what I was afraid, like what I always thought consistently, that Jim Carrey would get on my nerves. He did. I just, for some reason, I thought it was just the whole movie. He was just like, Wah!
I just want to know
what was the first joke that got you?
Yeah.
It was kind of early on. Which one was it? Shoot. Oh, it was when he was pulling out the catheter out of him at the beginning, when he's like, oh, I've been joking that like I've been this way for 20 years. It was like he was trying to change his thing out, like when he was like, at the opening scene. Like he goes and visits him somewhere, and he's like,
Are we
sitting
watching the
there.
same movie here, Shelly? Because I don't know what part of the cat
And
they're.
Dumb and Dumber at the beginning. He has a beard, and like he comes to visit him, and he's in a wheelchair.
Shelly, did you watch the sequel?
She definitely watched the sequel.
Did I watch the sequel?
You
Yes, you
definitely
did.
watched the sequel.
Because you said Penny twice, and I said, Penny, where the fuck is? I'm like, that's not Lauren Holly's name.
I watched the wrong movie.
This is my favorite episode.
There's the pothead coming out.
This is my favorite episode of this. Not only did you end up liking the movie, you liked the wrong movie.
I'm like, what are you talking about? The beard? I'm like, he's in a fucking limo. In the credits are rolling during the goddamn limo scene. What is she talking about? I go, Penny, Penny, Penny. And then I'm like, oh no.
He's so cute on the second one.
I can't. And I wrote Dumb and Dumber, not Dumb and Dumber 2.
No, because I went, okay. I was like, okay, YouTube. I put Dumb and Dumber and then full movie. And then it popped up.
Holy.
At least you didn't watch wasn't there the one where they were young kids? Dumb and Dumberer?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank
Three
you.
of them.
Well, in the true canon, there are only 2, as the nerds like to say. No. Well, this is a first. This is a first.
My favorite.
Isn't it?
Love it.
It's like the scene in Anchorman. I'm not even mad. I'm just surprised.
And I got to tell you, normally Kevin and I would be like texting back and forth, being this piece of shit. Now what do we got to do? But you're hysterical about it, so we're not even mad.
I'm not. No, it's just that's so funny.
You
But
can call me a piece of shit to my face. It's fine.
I
It's
will.
hysterical. But
yeah.
you honestly are living up to the stereotype, so you're not helping your people's cause.
Yeah.
I know.
At first, I'm like, she's really together for a pothead. She must not have smoked the last 35 minutes. So this is good. Now, oh, Shelly, all that goodwill and karma just came crashing right down. That's hilarious. I can't believe. Listen, that's fucking hysterical. But the sequel's not good. There are moments when it's funny, but otherwise it was.
Oh, I like the sequel.
I liked it when I first saw it, and I was like, and the second time I go, the funniest scene, and then I guess we'll go to our notes, Kevin, is when she goes, oh, he's at this address, and she hands him the envelope, and then they come back like 10 minutes later like, to the house. She goes, you assholes, that's the return address you're looking at.
It was a good, cute little movie.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Kathleen Turner hasn't aged well at all.
I was worried about her voice in that one. I was like, wow, her voice sounds like she can barely get it out a couple times.
That's a 3-bottle a day of Hendrick's gin and a carton and a half of Cowboy Killer Marlboro Reds doing their finest.
Oh, yeah. It was. I felt bad for her, poor thing. I hope her voice is doing okay these days.
Listen, when women get older, usually their voice doesn't get better.
That's true.
I guess I'm screwed then.
Well, no, you don't sound like her. Maybe in another 20 years, hopefully you avoid that. Like the play.
5.
Stick with the edible. Stop smoking.
Yeah. Hey, you guys want to talk about some sativa? Come on to my YouTube channel and we'll talk about it. That's so fucking funny.
And watch Dumb and Dumber 2. Not 1, 2.
Yeah, you fucking
So
morons. Don't do
So
me.
Shelly still has never seen the original Dumb and
I've
Dumber.
never seen Dumb and Dumber.
This is
the
going to be a
best.
short. This is funny. This
This is the best.
so funny. Kevin Israel, why don't you take off and lead this puppy out of the gate?
Okay, so I didn't see this movie in the movie theater. And,
You didn't? You did not see it in the theater?
No.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna lead off with this, and I hate to like put the cat out of the bag at the beginning. I hate this movie, and I've always hated this movie. This was actually, I think, the second time that I ever watched it the whole way through, and the first time I'm pretty sure I was drunk. Everything else has been bits and pieces. I've never been able to make it all the way through the movie. Here's my caveat to all this, though, before everybody starts torching me on Twitter. As a comedian, I know comedy is subjective. So I can't say that this movie isn't funny, because clearly millions and millions of people think it's funny. It's just not my kind of funny. I don't like stupid just really stupid humor. And there are some shining moments in this movie where I was like, oh, if they just did a little more of that, I would have, like the scene, and this is the famous scene where they go, oh, look at the ass on him on that, and he's like, oh, he works out like that. I laughed at that, like that I laughed at. Or the scene about I should probably have my notes open, actually been prepared like a professional I am.
Don't pull your notes out from the sequel though, please.
Ah, damn it. Who would do something like that? Like the whole scene on the scooter thing was just like every joke they did, it was like funny, and then they just took it way too long. And again, I know that's the point of it. I know the point of it was to really beat the jokes into the ground. And I mean, that was encapsulated in the whole, you want to hear the most annoying noise moment? Like that scene encapsulated what this whole movie is. It's just throwing it way too much at you. And that's the kind of humor I can't stand. And I'll give an example of why I don't like this kind of humor. In American Pie, Stifler, the character Stifler, started off the first two movies, he was like a jock. He was like kind of a jock dummy. And his character was that guy that everybody would be like, I kind of knew him. He was fun, but he was an asshole and kind of an idiot, whatever. And then in the third movie, I think it was American Wedding.
Yes.
They made him retarded. Like they completely changed his character, and he went from being like this kind of cool but asshole idiot who like was in on the punchline to being the punchline. Like he was just the idiot, and I hated that. And I feel like this whole movie was that character. And I seriously, I wish I could write like a thesis on what happened to Stifler, on the evolution of Stifler in the American Pie movies.
I so 100% agree with you on what happened to Stifler. Very much so. That American Wedding was just that was like the Halloween 3 of American Pie movies. You're like, wait, what are they doing with this shit? I was angry in the theater. I was angry because Stifler is the best part of 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love him. He's hysterical. And they go and they completely fucking piss in the gas tank of that franchise by making him a complete twat is what they did.
100%. We're gonna be writing a book called What Happened to Stifler.
Yeah.
So for me, this whole movie is kind of that character, and it's too much. Also, what I realized is they're cartoons. They're existing sort of in the real world, but they're cartoons. If you watch every scene physically has no consequence on the next scene. And I'll give you an example. In the diner where they're eating and they feed the guy the poison or whatever they give him that kills him. They do the whole thing with all the mustard, and they spray mustard all over each other, and they're going crazy, and they're all a mess. And then the next scene, they're walking out and they're completely clean, and there's no sign of any of the mess. That's a cartoon. They're 100% a cartoon. That's what happens in cartoons. So these were almost like cartoon characters existing in the real world, and it drove me bananas because there was nothing to them beyond their each of them was given a character trait. And that was it. They were very two-dimensional characters that just were there for the gag. And the worst part of it for me was that Harry is an asshole. They're both idiots, but Harry's actually an asshole. Because Harry, if they went with the old Three's Company misunderstanding gag where Harry didn't realize that was the girl that Lloyd wanted, and they were both going back and forth about how they're dating, and they didn't realize. And then it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And they were like, well, none of us will get her. And they walk away, and she like actually wanted to be with. I would have gone with that whole thing. But the fact that Harry was an asshole and fucks over his best friend and like specifically tries to sabotage his dates made it like, so not only these guys are idiots, but they're morally irredeemable and they're assholes. And at least Harry's an asshole. Lloyd was the bigger idiot of the two. But so there was just nothing that I could find and I know you're not supposed to really like these characters, and that's not the point of it, but it's just so much stupidity layered on top of each other. And like, look, the scene of him shitting in the bathroom will always be funny. People having explosive diarrhea, if you can't laugh at that, you're a corpse. So for me, shitting is always fun. but that there wasn't enough of that. And the thing with the dead bird, which I kind of felt bad about laughing at, was and I love watching Shelly, because Shelly's like, I have no idea what movie they're talking about. I haven't seen any of this.
Here's the thing. It's funny because when you guys brought up the diarrhea scene, I remember that from the first one. So today, when I didn't recall seeing it, I thought maybe that's when I wasn't like looking at the thing and I was like cooking or something. So it's so funny how like I just accepted in my head. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that before. So yeah, that's fine. So I'm right there with you with the poop. Poop is always funny.
You
And it's
Mandela affected yourself.
I did. Right here on your guys' show. That's what I bring.
And then there was one scene that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Goatee loves this movie so much. And they did this where he gets his tongue stuck on the bar. I was like, that's a Christmas Story. They took that directly from A Christmas Story. And it wasn't, I mean, they didn't even do anything different with it. Like it was just ridiculous. But there was like, so the gag that actually got me, that I was like, I really wish there was more of that, was when he was walking out of the bar and there's the article about the moon landing.
Oh.
And he goes, and he's like, huh. And then just walks out. I genuinely laughed at that, because I was like, it was smart, stupid. And it was subtly acted. And that for me was funny.
Wasn't acted. That was improv.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No shit. Wow.
No shit.
So there you go. But yeah, so for me, I don't want to beat the dead horse, because again, comedy is totally subjective. And that's why, so Kevin and I are trying to choose our movies to gut, and I'm racking my brains and I keep coming up with comedies, but then I'm like, I can't really, it's so hard to gut a comedy because it's so subjective. And unless
Napoleon Dynamite, fuck that film.
And you're right. You're 100% right. But that movie.
Don't you make a face, Shelly. That film is terrible. Terrible.
I love that film.
Of course you did.
Oh, did you watch that one, or did you watch the sequel, the cartoon that was on Fox?
So, but yeah, but for me, there was nothing funny in that movie. Like in this movie, there was still stuff that I laughed at. So I would never say that this was like the worst movie ever, but I just hate it. I hate it personally, but I get why other people like it. And there's an entire scene where they're shaving some guy's, I think it was Lloyd's nails, his toenails.
Yeah.
And Shelly, you don't know this about me, but I hate feet. And I immediately take points off for any movie that focuses really in on feet, and especially disgusting toenails. I wanted to throw up in my mouth. So yeah, that would just kind of drove me crazy. Oh, and the one scene that really bothered me, and I'll end it with this one. The scene with the police officer pulling them over, and he hands him the bottle. If you handed me a bottle of pee,
motherfucker,
there's no mistaking urine for beer. And I don't care if it's Coors Light. I don't care what kind of beer it is. Beer doesn't smell like pee. And if I put, like, one of my dogs peed on my other dog's head the other day, and he went running through the house, and I was like, oh, that's pee. Like, you immediately know the smell of pee. So the fact that he was like, and then he smells it and then drink, like, I was just like, all right, I know this is Dumb and Dumber, but that's the dumberest, and I just can't with this movie. So look, this was the least amount of notes I've taken on any movie that we've done ever. Yeah, just I knew what I was gonna feel going into it, and I did, but I also get it because it's comedy and it's subjective. So I can't be too harsh on it, but for me, I hate it, and I'll leave it at that. It's for me, this movie is a 3.
But you hate Jim Carrey, though. You don't like Ace Ventura.
No.
You hate Ace Ventura.
I wouldn't say I hated Ace Ventura. First of all, I liked Ace Ventura more than this, but I like a lot of movies. I like The Mask. I like Liar Liar. I liked everything he did. Like Shelly said, everything he did in Living Color, I thought was great. The problem is when you take these movies that feel like they should have been sketches on In Living Color or on Saturday Night Live, and then you make a whole movie out of it. Like Ace Ventura was a sketch that he probably pitched to, In Living Color, and they were like, nah, I don't think so. And he was like, well, now I'm wealthy, I'm going to make a movie out of this. And the same thing with this. This felt like a sketch that you would have seen on SNL that they maybe would have popped up every now and then. And then they made a movie out of it, and there's no like real story behind it.
You don't need a story for a comedy. Cut the bullshit.
You do. Oh, you still need a plot. You still need some kind of
plot. I'll get into it, but you just need a bare bones, just enough to hold the table up. to keep you busy for 90 fucking minutes. You don't need something as complex as Pulp Fiction or fucking.
Oh, of course. All right. You go all the way to the extreme.
Well, okay, then. You just need something that's serviceable, not that's blatantly awful, the shittiest plot. You just need something. And this had something to keep the four legs up while they just did. Fuck it. I'll get to my jokes in a minute. Go ahead. Finish up.
Oh, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Three and a half.
Three.
I wonder what Shelly would have given this if she would have watched this film.
She probably, if she liked the sequel, she probably would have loved this.
Yeah. What would you give Dumb and Dumber 2, Shelly, since you did watch that one while doing cardio and cooking?
What is the thing?
1 through 10. 1 through 10. 1 through 10. Yep.
I give it like a 5. You know, I'm not saying it's my favorite movie in the entire universe, but it made me laugh.
No one is accusing of that. And you did say Napoleon Dynamite is your favorite, and that film, I repeat,
I didn't say it's my favorite. It's a
trash.
good film. It's a
No.
good.
Oh no! Oh no!
Uncle
One
Rico,
Crazy Summer is her favorite movie.
Oh.
it's a good one. John Cusack got Curtis Armstrong.
Can you watch that movie without being high?
Absolutely. Like I used to watch it all the time growing up, and I wasn't high.
Oh, you weren't medicating. You weren't a medicator
I was
then.
not medicating yet. I was.
You were
too young.
medicating at 9. It's hilarious.
No.
These notes brought to you by guttingthesacredcow.com, where you can read Kevin Israel and I doing That Doesn't Happen. For example, That Doesn't Happen, where people come to our podcast and watch a movie that's the sequel instead of the original. That doesn't happen until this episode. This is great. Shelly, thank you for being a good sport about that. Guttingthesacredcow.com, where you find blog articles every day, as well as merch, bags, hats, shirts, I don't know, cell phone holders. Yeah, we sell those. We probably should sell bongs for our pot friendly folks here. We have a lot of the wheat friends who like the show. Guttingthesacredcow.com, guttingthesacredcow@gmail.com if you want to advertise with us and help us build your brand or product. Notes, first things first. When he says, where are you from? New Jersey. Let's just stop right there. As two guys from Jersey, Jersey does not have its own accent. You either sound like you're from New York or you sound like you are from Philly. There is no discernible New Jersey accent. We're going to nip that shit right in the bud right goddamn now. Are we not, Kevin Israel?
100%.
You're goddamn right. Even Jim Carrey knocking on the door with that annoying knock is fucking funny. I never had a limo driver wear a badge, ever. I would immediately think that if I saw a limo driver wearing a badge, I would know he's a fraud or that I was about to star in a Bang Bus episode. Nothing makes a woman happier when you take your finger and put it to her lips going, shh.
Oh, and that creeped me. Just touching somebody's mouth. Ugh.
But he was banging Lauren Holly's, and so at the time, so it was all okay. Hugging a limo driver or Uber driver is a surefire way to get onto your flight reeking like body odor, Dracar Noir, and broken dreams. Let's also get this out there too, Kevin Israel. I will hear no arguments otherwise. Karen Duffy, hottest MTV VJ ever. There's no argument. Number two, Daisy Fuentes. And number 3, Tabitha Soren. Shelly, I want to hear your top 3 MTV VJs that start with Karen Duffy.
Top 3 MTV DJs.
If you say Kurt Loder, I'll shit my pants.
Well, I used to love Ricky Rackman, but I don't love him anymore. But back in the day, I did.
Why? Did he hit it in the Viper room and was he a creep about it?
I just knew him later in life.
I knew it.
But I did enjoy the Headbangers Ball. That was like awesome. I loved it. Let's see. You know what? I loved when what's his face? Oh my gosh, I'm having such a blank
John
right now.
Norris.
No. Oh, John Norris. Remember, he'd be all intense. Yeah. Hi, this is John Norris. He was, I liked Matt Penfield. He knew his SH big time too. Like I loved learning from him.
John Norris looked like Ben Stiller's retarded cousin. How about that?
Oh,
just pull that out right now. By the way, you can tell what music you're into because I was gonna, if I wanted to be, Karen Duffy is still the hottest, says Daisy Fuentes and Tabitha Soren. But if I was gonna base it on the shows, I was 120 minutes kind of guy. Didn't like Kennedy, loved the music, and AMP, which came around later, which is the electronic
yeah.
stuff. Loved AMP.
120 minutes was awesome.
Yeah, and of course the Unplugged series. But Kevin
Oh.
Israel, any other VJs strike your fancy? Like Jesse?
Jesse, what happened to him?
Cocaine or heroin? That's what happened to him in the form of a speedball.
Oh.
I always like Pinfield too. I thought he looked like a penis.
He does. Did he looks like Butterfield? Butterfield, Butterman, the boxer. Butterbean, right?
Butterbean, yeah.
Butterbean.
Butterbean, yeah.
I'm good. Notice no one said, downtown Julie Brown. She was cute too.
Oh, she was
Oh,
good
she was cute.
though.
Wubba. She's still on Sirius XM. Continuing on, we can do this all day long, and believe me, I can. Running out on the jetway and falling to the ground, that to me is like death and taxes. It doesn't miss. I laugh so goddamn hard. He runs. I'm a limo driver. Just beelines out of there, falls on his face. Hysterical. The sight gags of him getting the quote unquote bare essentials of a paddleball, 10-gallon hat, and a pinwheel is fucking hysterical. I love that. Oh, then he stopped to go get a copy of Rhode Island Slut. Did you not notice that? One porno mag that never ever came across my teenaged jizz-filled hands. Never Rhode Island Slut. I would rather see the stewardesses of Southwest Airlines do a nude photo shoot than Rhode Island Slut. You sold my dead bird. He didn't have a head. I took care of it. Hilarious. Sweet little bird, cute little bird. Lloyd and Harry aren't really best friends. They try and scam each other, as Kevin Israel has said, try and scam each other's girls as well as get other people to fight the other one. This is the most sadist best friend relationship I've ever privy to. He sold out Harry to Seabass when he threw the salt over his fucking shoulder, the diner. It's like, what an asshole. I would have left him there on the spot like, fuck you. Wouldn't the cop have smelled the piss, like Kevin Israel had said, the minute he put the bottle to his nose? I know Natty Light, Meister Brown, Red Dog all smell pretty damn close to that, but that pungent smell of piss is unmistakable. Yep. That doesn't happen. Pointing and laughing at the hitman from The Last Dragon, which I rewatched this weekend. Fucking horrible. That was the hitman from The Last Dragon. When he drops dead with the rat poison, it's not gold. It's fucking platinum hilarious. When they go, ha! I still goof off to that. How many people do you think called that number in the bathroom asking for man love? Over under 42,000. I'll take bets now. Jim Carrey's haircut is what I imagine every backyard wrestler in Michigan wears. That got Shelly because apparently she's done some backyard brawls out in Michigan. Hey, yo.
You know.
She tosses her hair so casually, humble brag.
Haven't you?
No. I haven't. The subtle jokes are what puts this over the top. Like when Jeff Daniels tells Lauren Holly, I made canines, dogs, like explain to her like she's dumb and needed to know what canines were. The soundtrack is so viciously 90s. And even though I don't like those songs, it took me right back and put a smile on my face. The Crash Test Dummies and A New Age Girl. I'm like, oh my God, I'm back in fucking high school again.
Yeah,
I'm not getting laid. Jim Carrey, when he was in the bathroom, peeing while swiveling his hips while peeing means one thing and one thing only to me. He was pissing all the poop streaks off the back of that toilet while doing so. Because every guy does that.
Women will never know the wonder of being able to do that.
It's so fun. It's so
satisfying.
Fun, Shelly. It really is. Like, that was the size of a dime. I'm gonna get this one off come hell or high water. Here we go.
You can keep that. It's all you.
I'll accept that on the account of dudes across the country. And on Twitter, you can back me up when this comes out live. When Jim Carrey burps at the bar and scares the shit out of the FBI agent, I laugh hard. And then when she drones on about her crazy boyfriend and then picks his head up from laying his face on the bar, lifts his head but goes, no, and I don't care. That perfectly encapsulates dating. Harry shoots like the stormtroopers did, Kevin Israel. Did you notice that too?
Yes.
Running joke. Remember when the Hawaiian Tropic Girls were a thing? I had a buddy who landed one, and he was king shit for 2 straight weeks. Bring them back post haste. Bring back the Maxim and stuff and FHM girls prontissimo. We need that in our lives.
I also remember a lot of women claiming to be Hawaiian Tropic girls or models, and
Right.
it was very questionable about what qualified you as a Hawaiian Tropics.
Answer: she sucked a dude off in a bathroom at a bar. There's your answer. Shelly's just nods like,
The thing
Yep.
is, the Hawaiian Tropics, I don't know about that whole thing. It's very shady, that Hawaiian Tropics franchise.
the only thing missing was an infomercial at 3 a.m. asking them to send you $25 for a Girls Gone Wild version of Hawaiian Tropics,
Absolutely.
because they would have gotten my $25.
You know it. And hey, no hate on those girls, positive vibes, like do your thing, but that world is shady. That's Hawaiian Tropics.
I smell a tell-all from Shelly Martinez coming.
But I'm right there with you. Like I used to love like the FHM and all those magazines. Like as a gal who I always knew my path was like being a model and stuff like that. Like I just always like was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, yeah, should bring it
I
back.
respect that.
What was the girl? Vita Guerra, right? Like Kevin Israel, the girl from Stuff with the famous ass.
Oh, Vita Guerra.
Is that- am I right?
She was from Jersey. She was from
I know
Elizabeth.
yeah. I want to
Yeah,
see
I knew guys. She worked out at a gym, and I knew guys who worked out at the gym.
just because of
And
her.
apparently, when she got there, like everything just stopped. Like everybody stopped working out and was just staring at her. And she,
I wonder what her ass looks like now. Probably 2 trash bags filled with Jello.
she probably went to Brazil and got butt implants, so they probably look.
Hopefully
Like
she didn't
that.
go. Hopefully she didn't go to the one in Chicago that did Kanye West's mom's implants and died. Next, true story. First off, these arguments I've heard disparaging Dumb and Dumber. These are argument, excuse me, because we only had one argument because someone watched the sequel. The argument I heard today from Kevin Israel, this is worse than the argument proclaiming OJ's innocence in 1995. This film is untarnished as one of the best comedies of all time. The jokes still land perfectly like your favorite pair of broken in slippers. By the way, I'm going to throw out 1994 as my 3rd favorite year for films. Why? Pulp Fiction, the aforementioned, Shawshank Redemption, Ace Ventura, The Crow, Speed, True Lies, Clerks, and Dumb and Dumber. That is a murderer's row of films in one year. And I said before, the plot is serviceable for a comedy. Is Airplane's plot all that, inspiring and deep, Kevin? No, it's there to hold the purpose of being funny. Same with Naked Gun. Same with Dumb and Dumber. Because why? The jokes make you forget about the plot of the story. That's all I need is a bare bones skeleton, and that's all we need. This movie easily should reside on everyone's top 25 list of comedies. I argue this slightly edged out by Ace Ventura as my favorite Jim Carrey film by just a pube. This movie, without fail, passes the remote test. Shelly, the remote test is when you're watching it on cable at any point in time, it comes up, beginning, middle, or end. You drop the remote and go, yep, I know what I'm doing for the next X time. This movie is an 8 out of 10. There is an ounce of tarnish on this film. It's still brilliant, and God damn it, I love it. And someone please put Lauren Holly on the back of a milk carton. We haven't seen her in 30 years, it seems. Jim Carrey seems to fuck the good looking out of everyone and leave them kind of like a vampire drains them of blood, or Shang Tsung of your soul. Case in point, A, Lauren Holly. Have you seen her recently? Yeesh. Case in point, B, Renee Zellweger. All right, there wasn't that much to suck out, but man, did she go full duck lips. Holy shit. Is she going for the Howard the Duck reboot? Ma, Mingya.
So you're saying his first movie, Once Bitten, was actually a biopic?
Fair.
Oh,
Although I don't know if he banged Gina Davis, but he was in Earth Girls Are Easy with Gina Davis, and she age is a motherfucker. It happens to everybody. Critics, 5-star reviews. The plot, of course, is merely an excuse for endless series of gags, and the percentage of them that score is fairly high. Okay. Easily one of the funniest and most quotable movies ever made. The caviar of lowbrow, gross out humor. If they think that's lowbrow, gross out humor, I asked you to watch a little film called Freddy Got Fingered. Have you seen that, Shelly?
It's been a really long time.
The first half, maybe 2/3 are hilarious, but the last third half is off the fucking rails, awful. But again, first half, gold. Watch it. The teaming and the formula are often copied, but rarely matched. That is true. Dumb and Dumber doesn't have the greatest of plots nor the most impressive direction there is, but it's hysterically funny, which is more than enough to recommend it heartily. Critics, 1-star reviews. Gone are the days of John Belushi where rudeness was raised to an art form. You know what was rude? 1941. That was fucking rude of Steven Spielberg to make that turd. Anyone see that one?
No.
Me neither. No one did. It bombed. And Steven Spielberg was almost out of Hollywood because of that film. We can see a lot of these laughs coming, and they don't hold much staying power. This person is a fucking liar. I will say that. An execrable catalog of duty jokes, Dumb and Dumber is an abdominal comedy. I don't think someone... What are you looking at? Grey's Anatomy while looking up words? Not the thesaurus? Aha! Abdominal. I'll show them for all these lowbrow, dumbass dullards. Amazon 5-star reviews. If you let go of your self-perceived intelligence long enough to succumb to this film's wonderfully idiotic gags, you'll find Dumb and Dumber to be one of the great side splitters from this era's specific brand of comedy. At its heart, this is a classic buddy film and a comedy pairing of the ages. Was this review of use to you? If so, let me know by clicking helpful. Cheers. He's trying to check out my YouTube fan page at shitty reviewers at whatever. I want a vacation so bad since all this COVID crap. Where do I want to go? I'll tell you where. Somewhere warm. A place where the beer flows like wine and beautiful women instinctively flock to like the stamina of Capistrano. I'm talking about a place called Aspen. I thought that was
A lot of work.
That was
a lot
cute.
of work.
That was cute. It's a quote from the film. Kevin, did you miss that?
No, I didn't.
You did not miss that. Okay. Hey, that's why it's called Dumb and Dumber, because these two guys think IOU notes make up for taking somebody's money. Overall, this movie gets 5 stars for me because it's really a funny comedy film that's very well made and just a little cheesy without going overboard. So yes, I highly recommend anybody that's interested in watching a funny comedy that doesn't mind a few silly laughs and toilet humor to pick it up. You won't be disappointed.
I feel like he snapped his suspenders at the end of that. That's all I got to say about that. Sir,
we're in Staples. I just ask you where I can find more copy paper.
Yeah.
If you need a review on this movie to decide if you want to watch, then just go away. If you don't already know that Dumb and Dumber is cinematic gold, then this movie might be too high of a caliber for you. It should be a requirement for a high school graduation that you quote at least 3 different parts of this movie.
Wow. Not 2, 1.
3. Well, 4 if you want to be magna cum laude.
Oh, yes.
2 if you plan on going to beauty school or community college. Amazon 5-star reviews. Always heard this was a funny movie. Turns out it's actually terrible. Stupid and obnoxious to the extreme. Jim Carrey is awful, worse than usual, and is about as funny as a dead nun. Had to cut this one loose. You know, last time I checked, folks, alive nuns aren't too funny either.
No.
You know who likes diarrhea jokes? Not nuns.
Sister Margaret's not down with the scatological.
No. You put a little turbolax in the body of in the blood of Christ, and boy, shit happens funny in Our Lady of Sorrows. Son ordered this. Son ordered this. It's okay. 1-star review. They gave it 1 star, said it's okay, but the son ordered this. I watched on recommendation of someone and was quite sorry to have lost 1.5 hours of my life. Very lowbrow humor. I think I laughed twice. Signed, Adam Sandler. We couldn't finish it. Maybe the title should be Stupid and Not Funny Either.
Well said, sir.
I was going to insert an improv joke, but you know what? I beat that horse through all these episodes, Kevin, because the material, they make open mics look like an HBO special in the 90s, not now. Terrible movie that should be labeled dumbest. There were a few parts that were funny, but overall the humor was puerile and offensive, especially the diarrhea scene. That should not be something we view on screen at all. Poor plot. Amazed that Lauren Holly was in it. Was Lauren Holly that much of a get in 1994?
No.
Holly.
Lauren Holly is Jim Carrey's was the woman he's trying to get the suitcase back to. And in the first movie, she's not in the second movie, Shelly. So.
She's not that blonde
suitcase?
second one.
What's that? What's that, Kevin?
What suitcase?
Yeah. Next one. This movie is retarded. Sure is funny, but these guys are so vapid. I can't believe they actually succeeding in making this a disaster of a movie. This is a part put together. When one of the characters has explosive diarrhea and we are supposed to find this funny, a-holes hate Jim Carrey too. There, I said it. No, you wrote it. Who doesn't find diarrhea funny? Unless you're the one driving home doing Lamaze breathing, white knuckling the shit out of that car. Come on.
You just got to breathe. You just got to breathe it through.
Right. I had a guy I used to be friends with in college who drove me back from my house up, and we were no bullshit 5 minutes from school. And I went to school in North Jersey in suburbs called William Patterson University. And he was white knuckling the entire way home. And again, 5 minutes from school, and it's raining hard in I think it was winter. And he just bolts out. And right in front of some guy's house, like off the street, is this huge, it looked like a spruce tree or whatever the fuck, huge tree. He goes under there for about 2 or 3 minutes. Then I see someone on their on all fours crawling toward, and he's yelling he's saying something at the car, but the windows are down because it's cold. And I'm like, what? And I roll the window down. Goes, throw me the roll of toilet paper in the back seat. He shit some guy's front yard, and I had to throw him the toilet paper. What would have been funny if I just slid over to the passenger seat and just drove the car away and left him with his pants around his ankles and a shitty, stinky ass in front of some guy's front yard.
I once worked with a guy who came into my office and he goes, "Hey man, I got to go home. My stomach's a mess." And I was like, "All right, you can go home." He's like, "I've had real bad diarrhea all day." I was like, "No, could go home before you told me that." And he's like, "Yeah, man, it's really bad." He's like, I went through my extra pair of underwear. And then he just walked out, and I was like, why did he have an extra pair of underwear? Like, if he knew this was going to be such a bad day that he brought an extra pair of underwear, he should have stayed home.
He was being prepared, can't blame the guy for being prepared. I had a situation that kind of backfired on me because
pun intended, backfired.
Exactly. Because I'm fine talking about diarrhea and such, and usually girls aren't. I had a job and I just didn't want to go in. And so I called them. I was like, "Hey, I got diarrhea." Because it always made people uncomfortable to hear like a girl say, "Oh, I have diarrhea," instead of just saying, "No, I'm sick to my stomach." And I was thinking I was going to get the pass to not come into work. But the guy was like, "No, just come in. I'll have medicine for you." And he made sure I took it. So it messed my stomach up anyways, because I took this medicine that I didn't need. It was a whole thing, but it backfired. The diarrhea backfired in my face.
How did you diarrhea in your own face?
Well, I'm saying what happened.
I know. Shelly.
My joke. Okay.
This episode is really something different.
I'm sorry I ruined your show. If you want,
this is
log off now.
This is for the ages. This is in the annals. Diarrhea. We could talk about shit all day long. Kevin Israel, did Shelly Martinez gut the sacred cow?
I think I don't think to the surprise of anyone, while she was here, she did not manage to gut this sacred cow. And I was so prepared to be like, I'm going to be on Shelly's side because she's here. Like, I thought we were going to be a team, and you denied me the opportunity. And when you first said you loved the movie, I was like, ah, shit. So like, it's just going to be me. Like, I'm going to be on my lonely island here saying this movie sucks. And then you didn't even watch the movie.
This is like us saying, "Hey, Shelly, we're playing baseball today at 1:00. Come on by." And she shows up bringing a basketball.
Yeah. At 2.
Just in case you wanted to play.
on Thursday.
You know? Change your mind, give you some options. That's what I'm here to do, to give people options so everyone's comfortable having a good time. Okay.
We had a great fucking time with you, Shelly. This is great.
Yeah,
You'll have to come back and watch a film that we all watched together.
I'll watch Dumb and Dumber. What?
Nope, one bite at that apple.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That ship has set sail. Shelly, why don't you tell everybody what you're up to, where we can find you, and what you want to plug?
All right. Well, if you want to find out what I'm up to, just go to my site, shellymartinez.net. Everything is there. I'm a full-time content creator. I have podcasts. I just create a bunch of different stuff. I love reviewing things. So just go in there. You can check it out. Or if you want to follow me, if you go to shellyslinks.com, that's where you can find like my Instagram, my Twitter, and all that. So yeah, I just like collabing with people and having a good time and making some fun entertainment for all you fine people out there. So check out my stuff.
What is your podcast about?
I have a couple. I have one. It's called the Wake and Bake Morning Show, where it's exactly that, Wake and Bake Morning Show, where I discuss different things. I'm a retired professional wrestler. I used to be in WWE, so I talk a lot about my old stories from back in the day and all that. I also have a podcast with my sister called Martinez Girls Radio, where we try to incorporate like music and fun stories, but also raise awareness of like mental health, different things like that. And I just started a new little thing for my YouTube channel with my friend where it's called Talking Shit, where it's exactly that. We talk shit, and that's what I did dressed before here. So all this shit talk is very full circle tonight, if you will.
So for your WWF days, you get to tell us about what it was like watching the Road Dogg would whip his dick out at you at inopportune times. Oh, you didn't know?
You better call somebody.
Shelly's wearing a pair of Mr. Ass's pants right now below that we can't see.
I know, and I'm not going to show you either if you're trying to get me to show you.
No. We're gentlemen.
But yeah, wrestling's fine. Like, long story short, I got fired for standing up for myself. I got in a fight backstage. So that's kind of like why I'm able to be a full-time creator, because it kind of collected this like cult following. They're like, she's the girl that told off these people. So
well, that's what happens when you call Stephanie McMahon a cunt.
She was nice to me.
Her dad, maybe not.
He was nice to me too, actually.
Who was the biggest dick then?
Oh my gosh, I don't.
Jerry the King Lawler.
I don't like Lawler. I don't like
Really?
Randy Orton. I don't like Shawn Michaels.
Oh, the Heartbreak Kid. Did he
I
break
don't
your
know.
heart?
Sweet chin music.
No,
Yeah.
ew, no. And then the person I got in a fight with was Batista, but I'm fine with him. Like, since then I've like had a conversation with him and it's fine. He did me a favor and it's all good. So those are like
he got you to the premiere of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
yeah, right. Here's the thing that gets me though. So like people who follow wrestling from like the era that I was in, they know that it's like public knowledge that I got into this like fight backstage with Batista. But what kind of irks me is like, for all these years, everyone's like, I always got to bring him up to me, but I know for a fact no one brings me up to him, and it pisses me off. It's like, it's got to be fair. You got to swing both ways, people.
What years were you there?
I was just gonna ask, son of a bitch. I was just gonna ask the same question.
I was there in 2006.
Long after I stopped giving a shit. I was obviously a fan of the 80s. We're both a little older than you, a couple years older than you. I cared from the 80s when it was good. Then I stopped. Then I got back right when the Attitude Era kicked on when I was in college, like 97 to about 2000. Right around 2000, 2001, it just got weird. It has been so off. I tried watching when they had that whole Raw, was it 25th anniversary? The new people are so uncharismatic and just ugh. Like that whole Rock Stone Cold era. Nothing's gonna top that.
No.
The Hogan, Macho Man years. Nothing's gonna top that. It's just no one has the skill, the mic skill. Ric Flair and The Rock are the two best wrestlers. 1A and 1B in my book. I mean, Hogan, you can throw Hogan there too, but those are my personal favorites. But nothing's going to come close to what it was back in those different periods.
That Attitude Era was like the bomb. Like that's what made me be like, I have to do this. Like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be doing this. And it was that Attitude Era. It was just like, and it sucks that, like, in my opinion, I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience. I don't know how things are now, but just like seeing the politics take over is like what ruins the product. And it sucks because it's like, then you get these manufactured talents, like you're saying, where it's kind of like, there's no charisma. They're not connecting with the audience. And I haven't watched it in forever, but something I was really curious about was when the pandemic did happen and there wasn't going to be a live audience, because one of the things that we as talent get off on is performing in front of the live audience, feeding off of that energy,
Sure.
So I was curious when you strip that away, because when I would be in training, for example, so we would train, and sometimes we would have to do like little promos or whatever. People, some of them would phone it in. They'd just be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And they're not taking it serious. And those people always stood out to me because, like, there's an old saying, you practice like you play. And so I always wondered, like, how are they going to be if there's not all the whistles and gadgets and all this, like, and it's just them. And that's what I feel the pandemic did with the fake audience. It's like, you're taking away a huge energy element. And I think that's why people are now seeing some wrestlers are not good on the mic as they thought, or not as good in the ring as they even thought.
That's all fine and well, but can you tell me what it was like when Mick Foley grabbed your back of your head and put it right against his ass and farted on your head and said, "Have a nice day"?
What?
Do you ever walk in and watch Sable undress slowly like I want to? Sable?
Sable.
She was hot.
She's
Had her Playboy.
hot.
I haven't seen her. Really? Oh.
Look her up. She's still hot.
Marrow, right? Marrow, something.
Yeah,
Marrow.
I think so.
Kevin Israel, where can we find you besides not walking us down the days that pass in wrestling WWF?
I'm gonna be listening to this episode at least 3 or 4 times. KevinIsrael.com for stand-up comedy dates, taking a couple months off for baby making stuff. And I'll be back on the road probably in February. So check out KevinIsrael.com. But more importantly, leave us a 5-star rating and a one or 2 sentence review. It really helps us. We love it. Kev every week features people who leave us the great reviews, and you get called out. So the better review you leave us, the better response you'll get from our fans, and the happier you make us. And isn't that what this is all about? So we're doing this for you. Do something for us.
KevinGoatee.com for dates, for comedy dates of mine as well. And of course, NFL picks. And do it exactly what he says. And hey, as one review just said today, KG and KT are doing a hell of a job, but I don't know who the hell KT is. When do you ever come on this podcast? How do you not know Kevin Israel's KI? Thank you. I'm not going to be mean to your fan. KevinGoatee.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Shelly Martinez, this has been uncharted territory, but welcome nonetheless.
Well, I'm sorry for ruining your careers and or show. Because often people that affiliate with me get blackballed in the broadcasting business, the entertainment business. So I apologize for that.
Well, no need for apologies, except for watching the wrong fucking film. You really did us dirty. Shelly, thank you so much for coming on. We'll take care. Take care. Bye.